Good evening. Um, so apologies for missing any previous streams. What I'm trying to do today is play a little bit of catch up. I have been focused on um, quite a bit of the other stuff that's outstanding, the Wildcat, etc. Um, so I have kind of been bobbing backwards and forwards together with doing some work and being a little bit ill. Um, I'm just literally playing catch up, so uh, having a little bit of a brain fart at the moment. So what I wanted to do was, because the British version, I wanted to make an HSI, which is this horizontal situation indicator. It is a combination of compass, heading, TACAN, VOR, etc., nav aids. So what we're looking for, and I was kind of hoping I would find. Where are we? What I was kind of hoping I would find would be HSI dial images. So there we go. Horizontal situation indicator is an advanced navigation instrument combines CDI, course deviation indicator, with a heading indicator. The purpose is to assist pilots in tracking their course by showing both their heading and how much they need to turn to stay on track. Exactly how I'm going to make this work in game is debatable, and I freely admit that, but we'll try. So what I'm looking for right now is a decent reference image that's a pretty good resolution. You can see the particular one we want there. This is from HC4. It's horribly low res. So what I'm looking for, see if we can find a Seaking one. That kind of narrows it down a bit, doesn't it? Bloody fat fingers. It's been a very weird day today, I'll be honest, but most of my days tend to be at the moment. I think we're going to end up guessing a lot of the dimensions of this. Not seeing much. It'd help if I could find a brand. See if that works any better. That is actually looking like it. Oh, there we go. So, notice the arrow, there's the 3 flags, the dial looks very similar to my mind. So I think we're going to save that. Of course, it's not going to let us. Because why would it? Let's do a print screen. Where are we? Print screen. you're gonna fight me, then sod ya. Yeah, window. So that should have saved in my screenshots. So we went into pictures, screenshots. Ah, it saved it 3 times, but there we go. Really nice if we get a very high res version of that, just to get the depth, but I'm not too stressed at the moment. Just out of security, security, curiosity is the word I was looking for. It is rare that you kind of don't see part number. Interesting to see that it was in a Jag as well, according to this. Oh, it's definitely not a COVID thing. Yeah, so platform Jaguar, but it looks like it's used on pretty much everything else. So not overly stressed. Sikorsky Seaking, that's the bunny. 150 quid, wow. That was what we're looking at. That's a variant of it. That's the Harrier one, obviously. What it says there. I think the difference genuinely is, or the visual difference, I should say, is going to be down to the knobs. I'm hoping to try and find an image that's squarer. That looks the part, but so it's got a ball inside that moves. Oh, yeah, fair enough. We'll do that. Right, let's do this then. Let's try and actually make this. So we need to scale it. Looking at the HC4 picture, that appears to be just slightly to the left and smaller than that main dial. So if we I don't know why it's being so oh, I do know why. Sorry. Something was pressing on my space mouse. It was a bit of a mistake. So let's just create another group. What are we going to say? HC4, HSI. I have been sort of seriously thinking about stopping bouncing around from other things, but because a couple of people have made comments, which is fine, no problem. It's just that other people are asking questions, and I'm trying to answer those questions in these videos. If that makes any sense to... Where have I just balls that up? Yes, I have. I have just tried to create shape inside a group, but without... right. 110 mil was what I worked out. Let's get rid of that for the moment. About that. That's gotta be 115. Let's try that. Like I say, it's been a very weird day, so um hang on. One. I put 150 meters in rather than 150 millimeters. So 10, 10, 10. There we go. Right. I will stop being a loon now. Or at least I'll try and stop being a loon. So, roughly square, a little bit round, everything is centered. So if I snip this, let's swap the snip to a rectangle. HSI ref. Look amongst yourselves while I work out what the hell I'm doing with my life. Existential crisis moment. There we go. Let's reverse that image. Just give us something to yes, about, I guess. 0.2. Definitely need new glasses. Getting old sucks. Oop. This doesn't need to be perfect, but it would be nice if I can get it something like. Right. Literally. Go to the right side. Kill all that. And kill that. Found out earlier on today, even humming is subject to copyright, which was a bit surreal. So we've got single face now, geometry, polygon, inset. Let's go 5 mil. Right, couple of, the criticism from a couple of people. He keeps jumping around, not following through on everything, blah blah blah. To a degree, that is a fair commentary. However, I am trying to achieve a couple of things, showing people what I'm doing or how I'm doing something. There is a lot of conversation that is going on in the background of most of these sessions. Couple of people are requesting I show out to do things and whatever. I am trying to satisfy too many requests at once. I'm also spending a lot more time than I would normally explaining things, so it is becoming a bit of a slow process. And some people appear to be frustrated with that. I can't serve all masters all of the time, so sorry if you don't like it. It's just how it is right now. Let's see. Excuse me. These tablets I'm on are messing with my stomach. So, will be burps. I apologise. Right. So that is a 10 mil bevel. We're going to go with that. Remember 10 mil. It will be important later. There will be a test. Right, so we want to bump up that round level. Yeah, not happy with that, so we're going to go backwards. That. Curve slice. Now, surprisingly, that is actually quite a shallow curve. You know how they've done it. Just don't know that it's what I can. Yeah, I'll have to do. Kill those two faces. Cut and paste that. Much better way to do this. I'm being a bit of an idiot at the moment. Head is a bit fuzzy. I've just written, I just finished writing a piece on the impact of Trump's silly plan, or lack of plan to bomb the shit out of Iran without an exit strategy or allied sign-off. Been a bit of an intensely political day. Amazing how much gets written about something in a very short period of time that you have to end up reading. Worst part is I'm probably going to have to do it again for a college course in a bit. I probably mentioned it. It's a bit of a brag, but I got 96% in my first assignment, and 91. My lowest grade so far is 91. So I'm quite happy about that. Somebody that's been out of education for a very long time. Very chuffed. Even though the lecturer's politics are a bit odd for somebody lecturing those subjects. But, you know, it's what it is. Where are we? Positions, Z. Sheet. Go with 5, I think. As always, thank you to Bookfest for reposting everything I do on Twitter. Greatly appreciate it. Right, so let's kill that. I'll not kill it, but let's merge it. So looking at this, we've obviously got the dial rebates, which I do have a way to do that. I'm not overly worried about it. It's grabbing the center. So I am just going to go up here. I'm going to add a new layer in. Let's go 5 mil. 8 round. I just want to create a center block so that we can, everything gets then moved or. Sorry. Everything then becomes pinned to that center point. So all the dials we've established, because BIS have done them at 36 round, we're going to do that. So it's going to be 36 millimeters as well, not 36 sides. So again, just looking at reference imagery, you can see that dial is actually quite low to the bottom, but on the reference image we've got, it's because of the perspective skewed. So I am going to move that down. It's not moved everything too far out of the game. Again, purely eyeballing things right now. So let's... Right. I'm going to use this depth to my advantage to mask a few things initially. When I go polygon, go back to the back view, geometry, polygon, inset. That's a 5mm inset. So what we are looking to do is 82% inset. I will stop jumping around, just to go back to what I've been harping about earlier, what started harping about earlier. The plan is to go back to just doing the drudgery of this, but at the minute I have a couple of friends that are working on something, and they've been pounding me with questions, and it's a little bit easier for me to just say, sod it, I'll show you in... I explained it and just said, look, I'll show you how to do it and how I would do it in the Seaking. So this is the result of some of that. Like it or lump it, doesn't really matter. So what we've got now, a bit of a problem because of me center pin is no longer in the center. Let's grab that. When you swine, coming out, you can snap it onto that. Oh, it was 7.2. There we go. So on that center point now, I'm going to create a sphere. I'm hoping it's 40 millimeters. I'm hoping that we're not going to need to go mega high res at the moment. I want that sphere right. Bugger you, I get the effect that I want, because if we look at this picture, you can see that's the dome. To get the resolution, to get the size of the dial, so it fills the dial properly, which if I snap to that, go back to our back view, I go on default, I screwed up and gone the wrong way. Yeah. So, T1, temp1, and we'll go a horrible, crappy puke green with that. Right, I've done this the inverse. That's why that looks completely gashed. Well. I did mention that I was feeling a bit meh. Oh. Shoot me. Just shoot me. It's just going to be easier if someone just puts me out of my misery. Right, so let's go attempt 2, and we'll make that an equally crappy blue. So what I need, if I go on the right side of this, is I need this sphere to be lower than that dial looking at that. It is literally the top edge of that is going to be the apex of that sphere. If I go back into back, you can see that surround there. So what I'm going to do, you can see how it's chopping off this. This sphere is no longer the resolution for it's wrong. I would have to scale all of that out to make it look right, which I can do. But if I move that sphere, it's going to end up with a jagged edge at the top. And we're not going to use all of this face anyway. All of that sphere face anyway. So I am going to delete it. And I am just going to come back again to my back view. And I am going to wireframe that for a second. So again, using that point there as a center. I'm going to do a 32 by 32 sphere, sided sphere rather, and we're going to call it 60 mil. Get rid of that for the moment. You can see how this is so much smoother now. So again, need to move this. So you got a much smoother surround there for the moment. So again, I am just going to rotate this in my x-axis 90, so I've got all of those little nice clean faces pointing at me. And I'm going to grab these center points. I just going to go on vertex, join average, so we've got a center point. So we'll go to the right. You can see what we've got there. That's going to give me the center. I'm going to deselect those faces. So I now have somewhere that I can pivot from on the center of that. So I don't know how much. Right, so the sensor, looking at that image, and based on the knowledge that I have of flight instrumentation already, is see these bars, they're probably never going to go past the base of that dial because you want to show that which direction you're moving to, and if those bars ever change, or ever disappear, you lose orientation. So we can say everything that is inside of this it's only ever going to move that distance. So that's going to be what, 2, 4, got 4. So yeah. Or is this actually? Am I talking bollocks and that's completely separate? Uh, that's one side. So the arrow's your north or your heading indicator. Let's find a. Right, course pointer. Okay, so that's what you want. Compass warning flag. So you're in heading mode or nav mode. Lubber line is essentially the center and is your direction. Heading select bug. So that's the heading that you want to dial into using that. So that's your course deviation. So that's the dial. I wonder if there's a video. Right, what I was going to do was essentially kill all of that. I guess I can to save polys and then have the bits animate over the top, but I still need to have that center point. So I'm not stressing too much. Again, do quick B. Not that it's going to be really hugely important. Someone said as well, it's one of my seemingly many critics on this say I'm overthinking a lot of this. I probably am. It's just my particular brand of tism. I like this sort of thing. It's I like getting the details right. I think it shows in some of the add-ons. Somebody years ago, when they discovered that all the flight instrumentation on the Puma actually worked, they were really excited and like it made it for them. And I had some feedback from somebody who I did actually verify was a pilot, and it turns out we even had some friends in common. Not that my piloting skills are really anything to talk home to whatever to write home about. we served at the same sort of time. I was quite a bit junior to this guy. He used to fly for 120 Squadron. Spent a lot of his career in Northern Ireland on Pumas. Alder Grove. Unfortunately, he's passed now, but he was a lovely chap. Aggressive lung cancer. He was a smoker, and it just ate him alive. Just horrific. Right. So, again, what I like to do is it saves a few polys and makes life a little bit easier. Is if I collapse this, let's go to the right, create a cylinder. It's going to be 10-sided because this is going to be one of the digit dials. So let's just leave this at 10 mil for the moment. So what we want just to bring those up there. So if I spin this, right, so we can get even closer. So we want 3 in there. So let's go half a mil. So if I collapse this down, oh, sorry. Right, if I go to here, I'll bring this tooltip in. 33. That's actually gonna be 3, whatever 4, isn't it? So I don't think that's gonna. It looks right according to the image, but we'll see. The hole's a bit too big. It's kind of what I'm thinking. It's probably right. Again, just going to do very quick UV. Whoopsie. So if I just come onto this on solid, you can see what I've created is essentially a dial for the altimeter and course, or speed and course, I think it is actually. If you snap over to there, and we want to go, I tell you what, let's just move that 5 mil. I was going to say you want to give it half a mil in between, but that's 350.35 of a mil. So 5.2, probably a bit too much. 5's all right. So that gives us the three digits. There we go. Knew there was a word in there somewhere. Excuse me. So this center band compass, and on the right, I think it's speed. No, it's heading on the right and speed on the left. Could be wrong. Either way, kind of irrelevant at this stage. Yeah. By mirroring this, I am potentially causing myself a little bit of pain. These are now going to be mirrored. All I've got to do to fix that is texture, UV, mirror. And what it's done is it's basically moved that over there. I can just snap these back on top. The dial is going to be all the same. The number on the dial is it's going to be identical, so they can just sit on top of each other for the UV. Right. So again, I'm going to make a little plane indicator. It's going to sit in our center point there. Let's go 2 mil. Want 2 segments in the X. Oh, there we go. So let's shrink that down. I'm making more of a monster of this than it actually needs to be, but screw it. It amazes me. I've had the views on these videos are like 40, 50. It's not a big deal. It amazes me how many people seem to take the effort to criticize me. I've come across people discussing the videos in YouTube, in Discord channels, which I thought was like, kind of flattering. Only to discover that it's actually somebody going seriously out of their way to slag me off. It's like, why? What's the point? Right. Copy, paste. I kind of say this every single video because it seems to be necessary. I'm not saying this is the perfect way to do anything. I'm not saying that you should do it this way. I'm just saying it's how I do it. And if there's a better way, please tell me. Right, so the reason I've done it how I've done it is so that we can make it 3D. Come to the right hand side. And that's half a mil tall, or wide rather now. So proportionally you can see we are a little bit skew compared to the image. But bear in mind the perspective on the image is a bit meh. I wonder if we can distort that a little bit without. No, doesn't appear to want to scale like that. Oh well. Oh, helps you kind of undo the aspect, doesn't it? Duh. So 100, 105. Try that. So we potentially start to lose a bit of the height, or clarity on the height. Trying to square it a little bit so it fits better. I don't know. Yeah, not overly stressed about that. Duplicate, mirror. So I'm going to leave that just like that. Let's just do a very quick Check from view. These hideous light colours are more for you to see rather than me. I don't have a pastel fetish. At least normally I don't, anyway. So... attempting to substitute so for move that up there a little bit. It looks like the arrow. I don't know whether we can select course. Need to have a think about this, but yeah, let's do the little course direction bug. Let's go back to back. So that arrow looks like it is actually on that ball. Right, okay, I think I understand what's going on. So this ball rotates left and right, and that then shows the deviation from the course heading. So there's two bits to this the ball. Right, that makes a bit more sense. I've never had to use an HSI, so no. Nothing I've flown's particularly that complicated, or it's got separate instrumentation for it. Or I should say, I'm not the one navigating when I've been flying when it's been somebody else. I do have a lot of time as P2, which guy that I used to fly with, Marcus, he's passed as well. He was very much the I'll fly, you use the radios. Everything about Marcus's was he was a very, very interesting guy. He's a very very good friend to me. Come on. I've lost my tool. There it is. Self-made man, orphan. He got into, well, he actually used to make latex. Had a factory making latex products. Got into condom manufacturing and ended up having the thing that made his money was manufacturing condoms for the World Health Organization. Like I said, interesting guy. Absolutely hated the latex industry, but he'd gone into it as a buyer many years before, and he had the contacts when the company that he was working for went bankrupt. So he managed to, well, he remortgaged his own place, his own house, and he managed to do a buyout with a couple of the people he worked with, eventually buying them out about 10 years later. And he made a small fortune. He also made, how can we say this that's YouTube friendly? Um, exotic bedroom toys, which was hysterically funny to me at the time when I first met him. We used to fly out of Barton in Greater Manchester, and I went for a lesson. It was the end of my lessons, and the plane wasn't available, so he just lent me the plane. I went into the hotel, um, just kind of the social centre of the place, and was having a little bit of a moan, and he lent me a Cessna 172. Refused to let me pay for it as well, so I had an afternoon doing a solo around the UK. And he never let me pay him back, so we just became friends. He's a really fascinating guy. He's a really interesting guy. I can't remember why I started this story. Oh yeah, but he was a very selfish co-pilot. He wanted to do all the fun things because it was his plane. It was a character flaw, but you know we all have them. But he had this fantastic, well, it's a 400 series Cessna. It wasn't particularly a fantastic plane at the time, but I loved it. There we go. That's what's screwing me up. Twin engine Cessna, and it was pretty much the heaviest thing that you could get into Barton because it was a grass strip. It's again, when it came time for my commercial pilot's license, he lent me that to do a lot of hours in, and I just paid fuel in the end. Saved me a fortune. And we used to go up and it'd be pilot in control, so P1. I'd go up as P2, or if I went as P1, it was purely for flying hours. But there'd always be a reason why he had to be in charge. A lovely guy. He had this fantastic two-seat like sports plane thing. It was a kit plane. It was don't actually know what the proper name for it was, but he called it the Textron Starship. And it's in my logbook as a starship as well, but it wasn't the Beechcraft Starship that was famously space age looking but horribly flawed, and it wasn't a turboprop either. But it was a very cool plane to be seen in. And he flew to the south of France to meet this woman. He didn't want to fly in the plane, for whatever reason. And I'd finished the contract. I think I just finished with BNFL, British Nuclear Fuels. He goes, "Do you fancy a holiday?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." Paid for me to go down to Cannes to pick up the plane. And I was supposed to sort of hop it to his next location. And he never arrived, so I ended up flying it back all through Europe. Did a bit of a round trip, and he just paid all my expenses and just said a happy holiday, and then book it off. And he was like that. He used to chase women all over the place. Again, lovely fella. Really interesting characters to be around. I don't think I ever met anybody that had a bad word for him. And when he passed, I think the only person that did have a bad word for him was one of his ex-wives. He'd been married like 5 times, but he'd settled with them all very well. Um, everybody got a comfortable payout or what they were due, but his first ex-wife was a nightmare, so I was kind of hoping he'd leave me a plane, but he didn't. He was very much like that. It's one of the reasons that we were friends. Is that I wouldn't take charity from him. I'd take favors every once in a while, but I always repaid them back somehow. And I think that was the basis of our relationship. He was about 10 years older than me. But I got him up in a back of a Hawk as well. Payback for something else via a friend who was an instructor at Valley at the time. Again, this is going back years. But I had a couple of people that I knew that took me up, the RAF that were. I mean, it wasn't you couldn't break the rules. There was no way in hell. It was kind of you had to follow the procedures. Everything was by the book, but a lot of getting these sort of cheeky check rides, especially when you're also an RAF officer. Me at least was just knowing the right people. And with my mate Nick, we went through Cromwell together, and the way that sort of Nick treated it, it was like, well, sod you, you're a mate, I'll do it. And he got his hours up. It wasn't a problem. It was kind of a win for everybody, but the taxpayer did actually pay the fuel. There's a little bit of awkwardness on that one, but I got a couple of check rides out of it. I got a very short flight in a Tornado ADV. It was post-engine maintenance, and they were doing a check ride, and had a very short circuit around Scotland, which in a Tornado, an F3 Tornado, was a very, very quick experience. Fortunately, Nick retired before Typhoon came up, but I went up in Hawks, and I nearly got a run on a Jag before they retired them, but unfortunately, I'm a bit on the larger side, so Hawk and Tornado are about the only thing that I could legitimately fit in, and kind of limited my options. When you go in for aircrew selection, measure your height and your weight, and literally, I've just screwed up here, haven't I? Literally, you will have every dimension of you measured, and if you don't fit inside, like a predefined, there we go, a predefined size or size bracket, you've got no chance of flying. When I went to aircrew selection, because I originally applied for a pilot, not that I was ever going to get it. I was told that I was never going to get it, but I managed to get them to let me go to selection. They wanted me to play rugby. That's basically it. I was a monster, and I used to play tight head prop. And the RAF were interested in, it was peacetime Air Force at the time, were interested in anybody that really could play sports very well. And my commanding officer, oh sorry, my commanding officer, the recruitment office commanding officer was a huge rugby fanatic, and spent a lot of time with me. He was really approachable. The flight sergeant that actually interviewed me wasn't. I even remember his name. It's Jim Perfect, and I always piss myself laughing. I met him a few years later, um, and I got my commission. I just got my commission, and he remembered me because I have a very unique name. Obviously, he does too, and had a bit of a chat. And he goes, "I knew that you'd get nabbed for the regiment just because of the size of you." When I applied, I was built like a brick. What's it? I used to do weights, martial arts, everything. Played rugby. Was never really into it. I just like playing the game. But I had a few people surround. I had a few people tell me that I was destined for the regiment, and I didn't want to admit it. But went down for aircrew selection. Passed all my aptitudes, but in my physical, I physically could not fit in the cockpit. When I went to the recruitment centre very early on, the flight sergeant behind the desk, he goes, "What do you want to do then, son?" And I looked at him. Bear in mind, I'm like just shy of 6 foot. I had a 21-inch neck. I don't know what that is in metric anymore. 20-inch biceps, like a 38-inch waist, and a 50-inch chest. And I was built like a brick shit house. I really was. And said I want to fly. And he just kind of stood up, looked over the desk at my feet, very slowly all the way up my body. And he went, "I'm sorry, son, but we don't make a single seat Hercules." So that was kind of my flying career at the end. Died before it even started. I was very upset about that. But before he'd said anything else, he just said, "Have you ever thought about the RAF regiment?" And I went, "No," and decided to leave. And he was completely, not bothered. And I trundle out the door, and about a week later, my stepfather throws me out the house. So back to the recruitment office I went, and what's this about the regiment then, mate? And honestly, I don't regret a single minute of it. Some things that I do regret doing, just I don't regret joining up. A lot of fun, made some fantastic friends. Got up to a hell of a lot of mischief. Stuff that probably, if we did it now, would probably end up in jail. I served abroad. I did an exchange for the US Marine Corps for about 7 months as well. First Gulf War, Bosnia, Northern Ireland. No, I didn't like Northern Ireland, I'll be honest. Wasn't a fan of Bosnia either, but it's what it was. And yeah, all over the place. Met some brilliant people, met some very weird people, and had a lot of fun. Far too much fun, if you ask some people. I seem to remember it as 10 mil. Right. Yeah, anyway, went down to Biggin Hill. It was Biggin Hill at the time, rather than Cromwell as it is now. I went down to Biggin Hill to get my aircrew selection course. Like I say, I passed all the aptitudes, went into the medical there. The flight surgeon was this very attractive, I have to say. He was a group captain. She was like late 40s, I guess, but she was one of those very glamorous looking people. And yeah, that's made a bit of a mess, hasn't it? Can't remember. That's the front as well. Sugar. Come on. There we go. Damn you. Damn you, sir. Yeah, so we're all lined up in our underwear, stood in the bloody corridor, pair of shorts, and you come in, and I think I was like third in out of, I think there was 6 of us, and I walk through the door, and she goes, "Fuck me! Well, that's the only way we're going to get you in a cockpit is with a hacksaw and a large family-sized tub of Vaseline." And that was kind of set the rest of my week on the shit. Um, like I say, a lot of fun memories, a lot of implausible shenanigans, I think my friend likes to describe it as, but I have plenty of witnesses. I had a whale of a time. I'd recommend it to anybody. I joined in peacetime, and my first tour was the First Gulf War. So it was kind of a steep learning curve, but everything after that just felt easy until Northern Ireland. And that was, again, more shocking, largely because it brought several things home that, unless you lived in that era, it doesn't really make an awful lot of sense. People will not be happy with me about this sort of stuff anyway, but it was an experience that I wouldn't wish on anybody, or I wouldn't. I know quite a few people that live in Northern Ireland now, and they grew up through the Troubles. A lot of Americans that I know see Northern Ireland as like a courageous fight. You know, it's the scrappy rebels, blah blah blah, which honestly is utter bullshit. But my experience in Northern Ireland, it was more about drugs and protection rackets than it was about politics. And if you were the wrong religion, you were properly screwed. So I don't know. I know that I don't really have the right to judge many people, but if you start attacking civilians to make your point, I don't think that's right. I'm just going to see you as a terrorist, and I'm going to call you what you are, which is a murderer. I know the British forces allegedly did things. Again, I'd ask yourself why, but I don't agree with the occupation of Ireland in the 20s or prior to that. But again, not my era, not my responsibility, and I'm not being horrible saying that. It's just, I don't think anybody should be held accountable for the crimes or the actions of their ancestors. Don't think it's fair. But on to nicer things. I got to travel the world. I went lots of different places. The only continent that I have not managed to step on is Antarctica, and I'd love to do that. I've been inside the Arctic Circle and never made it to the North Pole because it's just ice, and I've got friends that have done it now on these cruises because the ice has got so bad that you can literally get to the geographic North Pole. On a boat, and you never have to leave the boat. Whoever said climate change isn't real can go get fucked. But I worked in Africa. I did exercise in Africa. Number of places. Went to South Africa a number of times with friends, and BAE were doing work, doing offset work in Europe and Africa. We were looking at. I don't actually remember what the company was called, but I know it's Denel Defence now. But it might have been Atlas that were doing. It was post-apartheid anyway. That were doing aerospace stuff, but it was for the 146 BAE 146 airliners. A very small part in the offset deal. That would have been about 97. Oh. Oh, I just realised that people have been talking. Sorry. Hiya, mine. Evening. Sounding better than last stream. Quite a few on the eBay. Alright. Guessing that's possibly Fixer, I don't know. What's bugged up? Bum 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 bum. Right. Two. Forgot these pop-out flags I want to deal with now. Again, don't know how we're going to get these to work necessarily. I don't know what animation sources and drivers we can use in Reforger, but at the moment, I'm just going to assume that we can do. There's a way to do everything. Yes, it's me, been talking to you. Sorry, mate. I've been kind of focused on this and just waffling to myself. Come on. Oh, excuse me. Getting old sucks. Those flags could be alpha texture that remains hidden below X speed. I don't think it's. I think it's a case of. I have some kind of ambitious plans for what I want to do in Reforger. There's also a chance that, because a couple of people have asked me if we can port this into Flight Sim or something. Just kind of why I'm jumping around a little bit on what to do or what level of detail to add. Because what I was going to do tomorrow, because I am kind of up against it tonight, is do a quick refresh to a high poly and then bake it. but I don't know. I don't know if that's absolutely necessary at the moment. But yeah, a few friends of mine from the Flight Sim and X-Plane community are talking to me about doing a few things with them. So I used to be quite active before I joined the Arma. Well, at the time it was OFP community. I got, like I say, I saw in the previous stream, I got ripped off. Got a load of my flight sim stuff ripped off. It just kind of soured me on the entire process. Went to court and got screwed. So I've been a little bit down on flight sim side of the game. But my friends, I've still got friends that are active in it. Particular guy that I'm talking to at the moment is actually the son of a guy that I used to do stuff with. He was a former British Airways captain. Fortunately, Martin, not Victor Martin, he passed away. He had a massive stroke at 56 and passed. So, son is mid-30s, and he has been getting into the flight sim stuff for about 4 years now, 5 years. So, right, so that screwed me. Just have a quick. Right, so there in the pop out. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. That actually makes a lot more sense. So so where are we? Where? What am I thinking? Someone tell me what I'm thinking, because I've kind of just phased. Grab that. I assume those don't come peak around the corner bit by bit, or more speed you gain, because these just pop out so quick anyway. Yeah, it's just more about nav modes. So what I was kind of wondering about is, again, talking to a couple of people that are asking for help on things. Some of that has come out of these streams, and some of these streams are a direct response to their questions. But a couple of people are asking about flight instrumentation and whatever, and I don't know how good or bad Reforger is at that sort of thing. Because they're trying to make stuff for Reforger at the moment, and but Reforger is essentially Infusion. I have no idea what Infusion is really capable of. I don't think many others do either. I'd love it if we could actually have proper, excuse me, proper sources for a lot of this. I'd like nav instrumentation, which it shouldn't be too hard to code in theory. But like I said, I don't actually know. Certainly don't know at this stage. It looks like that goes all the way up to the top there. Hate not knowing. Could do with actually having a word with Clammers and I'm not sure that it'd actually tell me anything, but be an idea to have a bit of a look. This is what I'd like to do. Is there any chance that's going to happen? If not, would you mind considering it for a future push on an engine update? I mean, from what I understand, the terrains aren't really going to be big enough for fast jet stuff, but it would be nice to be able to set a course in, have instruments guide you, or at least be able to pull uh, animation sources from data, because they will have a vector to a waypoint, etc. in the game. It'd just be nice to be able to pull that data out and use it. Right. Have I dropped the ball here? Where's my transparency? See, that flag's popping out of that. It's less of a surround and more of a... Dum-da-dum. So let's just kill that. That just looks like it's popping out of the wall there, rather than as a cover. That's got a discrete... I wish the picture was clearer, but I don't think it's going to get any clearer. Geometry duplicates mirror. So if we... Ah, okay. Yeah, because there is a flying gauge there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of a think. I don't know what that DG flag is, and maybe I'm assuming it's some sort of sticker, but I'm trying to think if I actually know anybody that can answer me questions on this that's about anymore. Used to be a guy in the community that actually worked for Smith's Industries back in the day, before they were bought out and Americanized. Can't remember his name or his nickname anyway. Julian. His proper name was Julian something. Met him at a meetup in London. Very nice guy. I think I've just dropped a bollock here as well because background picture's kind of overwhelming me a little bit. So that's I was just gonna grab edges, but bollocks to it. Zero that, zero that. Let's kill those back faces. Kill the top edges as well, because you're not going to see them. Just so that we can see what's going on. See, not all of these are the same. It's a far more modern one than the other one that we were looking at. Right. So looking at this properly now, we've got two sets of arrows that are zipping around on the center line. Got a nav bug. I'll have to look in the manuals about what that is. That's some sort of drift indicator. Where's that nice Glide slope pointers, right. So we have some sort of tab. So I'm guessing that stays static and that the glide slope thing goes up and down. Hey, cool, we'll only go one round. So just delete the back face because we're not going to see it. Back as well, we don't need that back face. I think I've said it quite a few times in the past, it's just easier to, where are we? It's easier to kill the faces and things like this now than it will be later. So might as well do a little bit of house cleaning as we go. And it makes selecting the faces when it gets really complicated later on a lot easier. Oh, sorry, doing stuff off screen again. It's the benefit and the curse of actually having more than one screen. Don't think we're going to be able to attach anything to those. Not that it's a huge deal. I do like to try and keep everything together. Right. I'm going to take that little bug, put it in there. These will go into the surround. So aside from the knobs, it's not an awful lot to do. And I'm going to cheat a little bit and potentially bastardize these, but coming up for the 2-hour mark, 1 hour 52. So again, tomorrow potentially do the high poly of this. I need to sit down and work out what I've got left to do. I'm going to release a couple of bits. There's a new standalone UAV shelter coming. There's a little bit of texture work I've got to finish on that, and I've got to do a final multiplayer test. Let's do that 16 round. So that should come out tomorrow afternoon-ish. And I've got some Wildcat updates to talk about. Wildcat's a bit of it's a motivational black hole, I think is probably the best way to describe it. There is so much wrong in there. There's a lot to fix to get it to where I want it to go. There's a Darvi version of it, the group that I play with, so this version that they've got that works pretty close to how I'd like it. The displays are wrong, the artwork's a bit poor now. I mean, it's a couple of years old now. So once I've got the door gun on it, well, once I've got the M3M on it, I probably will do a single mount UPMG version, because it won't be the world's hardest thing to convert. But I think after that, it's likely that I'm going to stop development on the Arma 3 stuff. I want to get the Stav Jet out. There's a few other bits, but if I keep trying to push the Wildcat further, we're getting into territory that I want to do. It's things that I want to do with Reforger or Arma 4 rather. So I'd rather just recycle the model into Arma 4 early on. Spend some time on that. Let's go to back again. So I really like, okay, that needs to be smaller and further down. I really like the old style knobs. So let's scale that. 75, 75, 75. Shit. Right, 75. 5. That's probably gone a little bit too small. Again, the intention with Arma 4 is I'm going to be a lot less focused on British stuff. I am going to put some British stuff out. What am I doing? Where has that gone? There we go. It's like I want to get the man trucks out and things like that. Be this now. Portions screwed. To complement some of the things that Mike's doing, but also used with the UK Armed Forces terrains that we're doing, or I'm doing, and I'm hoping Mike's going to want to help with. That's going to be kind of fun because I've got I've got 1 meter resolution terrain maps for pretty much everywhere in the UK now. There's some areas that are still a bit meh. Slice. If we inch those down, I'm tempted to bevel those, but I don't know that it's worth it. Directional gyro. I got an angle on picture. Ping, Martin, if you can ping us a picture on Discord, that'd be great. I've got an instrument guide manual somewhere, but I'm buggered if I know where it is right now. Just gonna grab that face. Just so it gives us a sense. Cheers, mate. Um, what was I saying? UCAF. So yeah, Salisbury Plain is definitely on it. I've got Stanta as well, which is a Stanford training range. I've done quite a bit of work on that previously. It was going to be an Arma 3 map. There is quite a bit of difference between Arma 3 and Reforger, not only just the assets, but the Reforger tool set at the moment, which I'm assuming is going to be virtually identical to the Arma 4, if not the same. No reason to think it won't be. Has a lot better terrain tools than Arma 3 does. I've got an update of Bovington coming for Arma 3 that I've basically redone it in the Reforger tools because I want to put it in Reforger. We'd have a place to test. And the ground texture tools and whatever were just brilliant. It's a huge improvement. Grab that. Screen's going to turn off. Right, so one final bit. Let's go down the back. Geometry. Duplicate radial array. Gotta guess it's an 8. 7-sided, so let's just 1, 2, 3. That's gonna be 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's going to be an 8. Which fits nicely with the 16-sided thing anyway. So if we twist and pivot a little bit, so it looks... We come to the right. So I need to select all of those. Let's go in here. Oh, come on, you little swine. And if we just pinch that in... That looks a bit better. Right, so... We've got a couple of little bit more arrows to do and bugs to chase in. Oh, I didn't realise that had gone so far beyond, so we can kill some of that. You're not going to see any of that. Realise it gone all the way down. Right. So yeah, a couple of little bugs and arrows to chase. To put in there. I am busting for a pee, so I think I'm going to call it there. Martin, thanks, mate. Thanks for keeping us company. Sorry I didn't reply when at times. Still a bit more focused on this than the chat. Yeah, so what I want to do, what I'm going to try and do tomorrow is unwrap this properly, and I think we'll probably texture it, and I'll do a high poly bake so we get all the nice rounded edges and things like that. I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to go and use facilities, but I'll just add in this, are these two remaining sort of arrows, and I think we should be good. That flag will do fairly quickly. I think that's a power flag. Remember that rightly? Not sure. Oh. Liberal use of the Yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. So I will go and use the facilities. I'll make these last few flags. It's no different than how I made the little plane icon in the middle. Anyway, it looks like I've got a little bit of work to do as well with this. So that arrow. See, that spins left and right, and that one goes left to the thing. So what we need to do is there's got to be a bar on top of the surface of that moves left and right. I'll work it out. It's not going to be too much. It's not going to be hugely interesting to watch anyway. But tomorrow we'll get it unwrapped and set up properly as a high res model, and we'll paint it, and then that means I can bake it onto the low poly that we do. So thank you very much. I will talk to you guys later, and I really need to go and pee. So thank you. Bye bye.